A couple of years ago, I was in a bad place. I had low job satisfaction. I didn't really understand if what I did mattered or made a difference. And that was really weighing on me. And I was experiencing some side effects, some symptoms of the job, although I didn't know it at the time. I remember arguing with my wife almost every Wednesday, which was my Saturday. I would be in a horrible mood. I'd be pissed off, and I didn't know why. And it got to the point where she'd be like, "Oh, it's Wednesday again," and it was so weird because there was nothing that happened. There was no reason for me to be upset. I was off. It was Saturday, but I was, and I didn't understand why. And so I started looking. I started researching depression in law enforcement, and was there anything out there? Were there answers out there to why I was kind of feeling the way that I was feeling? Why the things that had not bothered me from in my career up until that point, why they were bothering me now. So I found a lot of stuff out there for police officers and firefighters and dispatchers, and there just wasn't a lot out there for corrections. So I kept looking, I kept researching, and I was searching things like depression in corrections and post-traumatic stress in corrections and suicide in corrections. And I stumbled across one lady whose research was quoted over and over and over again, and that was Caterina at Desert Waters Correctional Outreach. And so I went to their website, desertwaters.com, and I read about their course, and like the old cartoons when the light bulb went on, this light bulb went on in my head. And I knew this is what I needed. This course, I needed to go out there. I needed to have this information. And so I had to work overtime because we all work overtime all the time. And so I went over, and I happened to be working with the guy who was a union president at the time. And I showed him the flyer, and I said, "Hey, I'm going to go to Colorado and do this. I don't care if I have to use my own vacation time. I don't care if I have to pay for it out of my pocket. I need this information. We need this information. I'm going to do this." Long story short, we were able to propose it to the union, who supported it wholeheartedly. My administration supported it wholeheartedly as well. They were behind it. They saw the need for it, and they agreed to send me and another officer down there to get trained. And so we jumped on a plane. We got down there. It was in a little building, Florence, Colorado. It's in a little building, and that's where I first met Caterina. And I've written in a couple of articles, and I've talked about it in a couple of videos, but I'm a huge signs guy, and there was something about Caterina that I had this, I don't know, I just had this feeling, right? And so I remember on our first break, we took a break after introductions and all this stuff, and I saw on her back door, right above the light, was a little cross. And I said, all right, I get it. And then we went back in, and it's funny because I don't want to tell you a whole lot about the course, but there's a part where you have to read these stories that other staff members have written, and she's included it in there, and you have to read it. So I'm like a go-getter, right? And I said, hey, I'll start reading. And man, I got about 2 sentences into this story that this other officer had written, and I was choking up. I was reading about myself, and I could barely get through it. Anyways, the rest of the week was exactly like that. There was some laughter, there was a lot of tears, and I just had this feeling that this is what I needed to do. in the last video I did with Tear Talk, there was a gentleman on there, and he said, and I like what he said. He said, remember that corrections is a career, not a crusade, and I like that. However, for me, I just knew that this is what I needed to do right now. This is the direction that I needed to go. And so there was another gentleman there that was helping her teach the course, and his name is Brent Parker. He was a corrections officer in Colorado DOC and at administration and training, and he had done all these things, and he's such an awesome guy. So at the end of the course, what they do is they assign you a coach, and then you have to go back home, and then the coach calls you. And I looked at the guy that I was with, and I said, look, if Brent is my coach, is our coach, then this becomes something for me. Again, I look for signs, right? I look for trail markers that say, yeah, Bill, you're on the right path. When I got back to home, when I got home, I got the email that Brent was going to be my coach, man, and I just had this feeling. I didn't know what, I didn't know why, but I just had this feeling that I was on the right path. And so let's fast forward a little bit, and I get back, and with overtime and scheduling, and I got to fight tooth and nail to get these courses implemented and have them offered for the staff, and I get to do a few of them. And then I'm sitting there, and one night, and I'm still stressed. I'm still, I don't know. It was a bad night. We'll just say that it was a bad night. And so I started to write about how I felt on my Sunday or my Monday before coming into work, right? That feeling, that gut-wrenching foreboding that I've got to go back into the correctional facility. All of these stressors and all of these loud noises and screaming and all of that stuff's going to be there, and I called it, and it completely puts you back inside the facility. So you're no longer on your couch, you're no longer out running errands with your wife, and you try to fight it, but you can't fight it, right? So I started writing this. You could read the article, desertwaters.com, go back in the archives. I could feel it, or it's going to be the first chapter in my book, When Home Becomes a Housing Unit, that's going to be coming out here in the next couple of weeks, 3-4 weeks. So I wrote it, and then I put in there maybe some ways that I thought I could combat that. And I sent it to Caterina and said, hey, I don't know if this is appropriate, but I want to submit this for the Correctional Oasis newsletter. I don't even know if you do this or not, but take a look at it. Let me know what you think. And so she published it. She sent me back an email, published it, put it in there. Well, I was super excited. And I'll be honest, a part of me thought she was being nice. I guess I'll be honest, a part of me thinks she's still being nice. But I continued to write. So I sit down and I wrote another article, and I wrote another article, and I wrote another article, and I kept sending them to her, and she kept publishing, and I'm thinking, okay, this is something. Maybe this is what I'm gonna do. And so we'll fast forward a little bit, and she contacted me and asked if I wanted to put a book together, and I said absolutely, I'd love to put a book together, and so we've been working on it, and we've put this book together, and guys, the book is coming out here in 3 or 4 weeks. I got a chance to look at the cover art. I'll share it with you when we get a little bit closer. It looks good. I want to get your reaction to it as a correctional officer, but it's good. It's good. And so we put the book together, and the book is a bunch of chapters on experiences and examples of how this job, how this profession has negatively affected me in my personal life, and some ways that I have found that I can minimize it, that I can navigate that issue as it comes up, and it's all based on information and techniques that I learned from the course, the flagship course, From Corrections Fatigue to Fulfillment. That information is life-changing. What Caterina has done for corrections is she should be recognized by every facility in the United States, in the world. She's dedicated her life to making sure that we're okay. That's a thing that not even some of us do, right? We're participating in those self-threatening behaviors, and we're like, on kamikaze missions, man, to the grave. And she has made you and your mental health and your emotional well-being her mission, her passion, her crusade. Not police, not fire, not dispatchers, not electricians, not teachers, but corrections officers. And that's amazing. That's incredible. So I say all of that just to give you a little glimpse on kind of how I got to where I am at this time right now. And my hope is that the book hits home with you guys, and that it makes sense, and that you can have a friend or a loved one or whoever read it, and it maybe gives them a little glimpse on what is going on in your head and in your heart and in your household, and that the job that we do can have an effect on us. Now, it's not a collection of stories about the things that we see and the things that we have to do in there. I don't write about the fights and the medical emergencies and the crazy guy in room 15 that can't keep his pants on. I don't write about that, because to me, we respond very well to those things. To me, that is not what we need the most assistance on. To me, my focus is how you transition after you do that, after you have to force the crazy guy to put his pants on, after you respond to that medical emergency and that fight, and you have OC on your face and you're dumping milk on your face in the bathroom. After all of that, how can we go home and focus on the things that are really important? The family, the friends, the homework, what color your wife wants to paint the walls, those kind of things. Those things that make life worth living, those things that make everything that we do on the inside worthwhile. That's my focus. That's what I want to try to do. That's what I hope that my book provides you with. All right, guys, thanks for listening. If you like what you hear, please go to desertwaters.com, subscribe to their newsletter, The Correctional Oasis. Just put your email in there. I'll send it right to your email. Ton of great information in there. Like my Facebook page, share the Facebook page, comment on the videos. I enjoy getting the feedback. I do this for you. I already have this information. I know the value of this information. Now, my job is to get it out to you, and your job is to get it out to somebody else. So go to desertwaters.com, sign up for the newsletter, print off the newsletter, post the newsletter, send people to their Facebook page, send people to my Facebook page. Let's get this information out there. There are officers in distress. There are officers who are battling this, who are hurting, and they need to know that they're not alone. They need to know that there are people out there that they can come and talk to, and that will help them fight this battle. All right, guys, until next time, be smart, stay safe, stay sane. We'll talk soon.